ramps out there.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Good sand, you know.
Well, then,
sand.
make it worse, and then there's gullies in a few places where it's just gouged good soil out and taking it away. That's,
But I-29 won't be open for a year?
They're saying the end of next summer, maybe.
Well, that'd be some of those jogs along 129 itself or something. You can't go on like, what's it, 429 and some of those are.
well, I can't get from Missouri Valley to the Omaha Airport
Yeah.
until next year.
You gotta go.
That's kind of what I.
Yeah, because you always come in on that.
And we're gonna have to
Have a little
continue to
jog.
go down through Harlan, take the diagonal across 80, and then come up through the city of Omaha.
Boy, that's not
Yeah.
very well signed. You drive and you drive, you don't see another airport sign, you think you're probably got lost, that's how I always felt. Then suddenly, here's a sign in the middle of the airport ahead.
It was so easy to come in over that Mormon Bridge.
Oh,
Yeah.
It saves about 20 minutes.
Well, we'll call the meeting to order.
I'll move to approve minutes from the previous meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. All right, minutes been approved. Do we have any additions or deletions on the agenda? We've got none of deletions.
Well, we don't have room for any additions.
Pretty busy.
Yeah, no additions.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All ayes. Motion carried. Agenda's approved. Citizen input.
I had a couple of phone calls regarding the proposal to reduce the number of precincts. And the question centered around the local elections, and it's a pretty well known fact that each supervisor district has 3 towns. And each one of them will continue to have city elections as well as the school elections. Still want a voting center in each town in their school district. And so I checked with the Secretary of State's office, and at this time, we're still allowed to use the paper ballot for city elections and school elections. And so we can continue with our vote centers in each of those, I'm just going to say, 3 new precincts, so that each town will have their own individual city election, and each school will still have a vote center in each one of the schools in the district. She said the only time, if the plan goes into effect for 3 precincts in Sac County, then for the primary and the general elections, will be required to have the voting equipment in one location in each one of those precincts. So the question, the long answer to that question, the question was, will we still have our individual city elections and school elections? And the answer to that is yes. At this point, we're still allowed to do that.
I thought that's what we had planned it anyhow. They
Yeah.
would still have their local and their school elections in a given town.
Well, and it just makes good common sense that that would be the case, because we administer them, but they determine where and
Right.
take the cost of those elections. So if they wanted voting sites in however many sites they wanted to pay for,
Right.
we're supposed to do that.
And as long as we continue to use the paper ballot, we can do that. You know, I mean, and we can still do that if they want to use the equipment that we have currently. But after we replace the equipment, we certainly won't buy 10 scanners and 10 touch screens for each vote center. I mean, I think that's reduce the expenditure of replacement.
And if we had to do that, but 10 of them, then we might just well not consolidate
Exactly.
voting areas.
Kurt had a question.
Am I understanding it right that if the state ultimately does require city elections to be held using the computerized method, that it's possible that people will have to leave their towns to vote in their city election?
Unless we purchase enough
Unless-
equipment.
Okay. Well, what, if you, let's say it's the future and you've re-precincted down to, I don't know if I'm saying it right, down to 3 precincts, can you move the voting centers around?
Yes, you can. That's being done right now in some of the counties where there's city elections, especially where the towns are population of 300 or less.
Well, I guess what I'm asking is if you have one designated voting center for a precinct, which would be your supervisor districts, if it matched that, and there was a city election and it was required that there be computerized equipment, would you be able to make more voting centers in the precinct so that there could be one in Lakeview and...
You could, but you'd have to have the same type of equipment for each vote center.
Because they're at the same time on the same day.
Right.
But you can move the vote center to wherever you establish your vote center.
Well, my
For a
my concept of
smaller
a precinct is that the precinct has one vote center. Is that incorrect? There can be multiple vote centers in a
You
precinct?
can have multiple vote
Okay.
centers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is your question if, if in time we can't use a paper ballot in the city, because there aren't that many school districts anymore, that one, we still have enough machines, but if 9 towns are having city elections, then we can't use paper. So sometime down the road, we can't use paper ballots, and we only got 3 machines. Say, just for the sake of argument, we go to 3 voters. How are we going to handle that?
Well, that's what I started to explain earlier, that you can establish that vote center wherever you want to. For example, and hypothetically, if we established one vote center in Precinct 2, for example, in Sac City at the courthouse, during that election for the city council and mayor, if the state has decreed that we can't use paper anymore, that we have to use machines, we can move that vote center from Nemaha to Sac City, and that vote center, or the city election from Lytton to Sac City. And they'll have to come here, but they can still, they can do that now as far as that's concerned. Wherever there's a small community, if they can't get help or whatever the situation is. I know in Wright County, for example, they're doing that now. One of the small communities over there, they go to Clarion to vote, and if they don't want to go to Clarion, they vote absentee.
So the answer is if that would happen, like District 3, Auburn and Wall Lake would have to drive to Lakeview to vote.
For their counselor.
Or absentee.
I got just one input, it was from the Nemaha area, and they thought it was a good idea. This person had figured out what it costs per vote. It's really, they thought if we could save money by consolidating 3 precincts.
I had one contact from, and it was actually from Jack's district, from the northwest part of the county, expressing concern about having to go to Odebolt because of that district being clear north end, clear south end. Our other 2 districts are not complete length of the county. But just from time to time, we just keep getting personal contact, and this person didn't want to travel the full length of the county to vote. That was a concern that I got over the weekend. I got a phone call.
So you're saying that Lytton and Nemaha could drive to Sac City to vote for their city elections, but over to Jack's district, Odebolt and Shaler would have to drive to Early, say located centrally, to vote in their city elections as well.
Or you could have, if you took it in the site of the most population, both Shaler
would have
Or
to drive to
could
Oakville.
drive to Odebo, depending on how you decided you wanted to work it out.
Don't a lot of people vote absentee anyway?
Oh, the number of absentees
It's
has
gone up.
ballooned. I mean, we have a lot of absentee ballots.
You sort of go up and get it, I think, regardless what we do.
Oh,
I think the
yeah.
absentee is going to be just a constant in.
It used to be,
It's so easy to do.
you know, it used to be you had to have an excuse to go to absentee, and now you don't.
Yeah, and in fact, a lot of the political organizations are mailing out the applications.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
You know? So, I just wanted to make that point clear that we can establish those vote centers for the elections other than primary in general.
but at the same time, at this point, it still needs to be mentioned that we can still use paper. And so it wouldn't be if you did that, that wouldn't be an immediate effect. You could continue to have those city elections in those cities as long as they allowed paper ballots.
Yes.
And who knows, that may or may not,
Yep.
that may be 2 years, it might be 20 years.
And I asked the question to the Secretary of State's office about if and when the equipment needs to be replaced. There is no HAVA money left, which is the Help America's Vote Act, which was a federal funding source when we bought the equipment that we have now. That's gone, and with the state's fiscal situation, there's no need in asking that question either. And that's kind of a direct quote. Kind of a direct quote.
Yeah, we'll move on. Pay.
Just wanted to give you an update. As you know, the last 5 years, the county has been given money from the Iowa Department of Veterans Affairs to, enhance the services to the veterans. The first 2 years, it was actually grant money. We had to show that what we had used from our budget for the services to our veterans, then they would reimburse accordingly. The last 3 years, the state actually sent a check for $10,000, and it's an allocation, and it's very specific about what these dollars can be spent for, and any unused money had to be reimbursed to the state. We weren't certain, if we were going to get it again this year, and from my understanding, the check should be in the mail. We have a new director for the Iowa Department of Veterans Affairs. Her name is Jody Tymason, and she's actually written a letter to the Board of Supervisors, and maybe you've gotten this letter. Oh, okay, well, she asked that we get it to you. And actually, you're supposed to read the letter, and then this page here is to be signed and faxed back to her office so that you know, that the state knows that you received the letter and that you understand.
Is that defining what the money's to be used for?
Right, it's very specific about what it is used for, and this last page is the signature page and the fax number, and you can fax it, or if you want to sign it, and I can fax it to them.
But we have not, I guess, we have not received it.
Okay, it was directed to the Board of Supervisors, and she just said, make sure you follow up that this gets done, so. And I've also done a recap of the monies that we've received, any monies that we reimbursed, and then in the last column, this is the value of benefits to the veterans for Sac County. So as you can see, those dollars have increased considerably over the 5 years. Whether or not that has anything to do with our outreach efforts, I'm sure it does. So anyway, just a kind of a reflection of the state monies that we've gotten and the benefits that our veterans receive. So I'll just pass that on to you, and if you have any questions, I'll give you that.
This one.
Thank you.
Know what it is.
Keep that.
Alrighty.
I'd like to read the letter.
Okay,
So thank you.
thanks.
Thanks, Patty.
You bet.
Just go ahead and pass this letter. I don't know what you study it over more.
Yeah, I need to read it.
Several pages.
We'll just keep it then, look over and then, I suppose, so do we need to make the motion that you sign it after reviewing, or? It probably needs to be in minutes. I'll make the motion to recommend the chairman sign it after the board has the ability to review the letter and the rules that apply to it.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say all aye. Do you have anything else? We can go to recess and read the letter.
Yeah. Well, problem.
Nothing the other office.
Thank you.
We'll call the meeting back to order. Ron?
County crews placing aggregate on shoulder along N43 and D15 north of 220th. Laying gravel roads, spraying trees within the right of way of Levy and Walling Township.
Is there, do you have a rotation, or do you try and get all those?
I'm not sure exactly how Mike's got that set up.
Would you ask that question? There's quite a few along it'd be on the south side of the ditch on 230th. You see what Comrex there?
Oh, there in Cedar.
Be on the south side of 230th, right off N20. Just different places. I mean, we're seeing them, and I meant to ask you if they do that annually, or if there's a rotation.
Installing driveways in Cook and Cedar Township, scheduling riprap placement in Raccoon River adjacent to 350th Street, section 2 of Sac Township. Scheduling the installation of tile through the roadway on Lee Avenue north of 230th. Project update, bridge placement on M35. They did get that seeding done last week, just in time for a nice rain, so we'll come up with it.
The bridge is awfully rough, the approaches on them.
Approaching the
On
road.
one side, yeah, one's worse than the other. I thought they were rough. Go through there, usually just one smooth.
Yeah, part of it depends how good a job they do with tying the existing into the. I don't know if I was down there, but I don't think I drove it with any speed, I guess.
Just cruise through it both directions.
Patching, we still haven't heard from Cedar Falls as far as when they're planning to start. Highway 20 update, 220th Street, up there by 71, where they redid the S curves, that is open now. Needham, they need about a week of good weather to get that up to grade and get it rocked and get it open. They're hoping to have it open by September 8th. Yankee's still closed, Quincy's closed. Doesn't look like they moved any more paving equipment in North of Lake yet.
Is there, and I know we've talked about this a little bit, I both on, excuse me, Supervisor's office, for next speaking. Yes, we are. Sure. Okay, thanks. Jackie Duffy. Both M50 and M28, I mean, we're hopeful that those are going to be open during harvest times in October. What kind of, what are you being told or what?
The paving contractor, was saying that he was going to be in here in September and get started. The first thing they start with would be to go, through N28 and back the other way and then do that in between. I think as far as his contract, I think he's got I can check what the contract says, but I think he's got like a October 2nd. Monday.
We can look here.
Second is a Sunday. Third is Monday.
Might be October 3rd, but he's got a late start date of October 3rd, and he's got 20 working days to get that done. So 20 working days is basically 4 weeks, so.
Which will take the whole month of October.
Yeah.
Which that'll be the most activity. Oh, maybe into November, but if you deduct delay days, it will be mid-November.
I mean, they're planning on getting started, but, I guess when they have their meetings every other Wednesday with the DOT, I haven't heard a lot of good news about them getting started early, but.
They moved a lot of that stuff in there, and now for a month there's been no activity of the rest of the equipment.
But I did get a call yesterday that they're wanted to ask permission to close N28 for a few hours when they place the base rock and then reopen it, which is an encouraging sign, because if they start hauling base rock, that means they're probably getting close to wanting to start, because DOT doesn't. Well, they especially don't like to see that rock get placed out there and then get, set in the weather, especially over the winter. So, I guess I can just keep you posted. I guess that's about it. I mean, I haven't got any control over getting them there any sooner either.
Both those with like M50 to Nemaha Mill and some activity to DFS, and then N28 are both really active harvest routes.
Yeah.
For both.
And I know Mike's been getting called all the time on when's it going to be open over there on N50. Once they get it open, when they close it to pave it, I wouldn't think it'd be closed for more than 2 weeks when they get it. Once they close it and trim it to pave, I wouldn't think it'd take a couple weeks to get that all done. Because there again, of course, all they're going to do is pave parts or pave it with through there and there'd be no turn lanes or anything else like that to do with those. But on N28, there will be, they will do the turn lanes, the medians, I think.
Oh, they will put those on N28 right away?
I'm guessing they probably would, just so they can get, because of course they need to get the shoulders done, so rather than build the shoulders and then take it back out to put the turn lanes in there, I would guess they'll go ahead and get the, now maybe they won't pour them all the way down, but I would think right there at least 50 foot each way from the road, you'll get that all done, so it's done. But I'll keep you posted and see what they're going to say. The one thing I did forget to put on there was that governor's transportation meeting is in Storm Lake tomorrow night, and I'm planning to go up there and haven't put together exactly what I might say, but
We're going to try and make it, and I said earlier, we went to Odebo with the governor and lieutenant governor were there, and I voiced our concern about the fact that our purchasing power had dropped dramatically and that they were really going to have to, I guess I thank them for having an open mind to having the discussion, I guess. They've obviously been, this has been pointed out to them before. I mean, you can tell.
well, and I've seen a few that, news clips and stories about other meetings. Did talk to some of the people that have been somewhat involved with being at some of those initial meetings, and the one thing they wanted to make sure that the county engineer stresses that that this money shouldn't have any strings attached to it. That it has to be spent on farmer market roads only, or for bridges only, or anything like that. But then I also want to talk about some things maybe the county has done to tighten the belt. I think one thing that I might point out is, maybe give them some kind of a number as far as the number of low limit of bridges we've got. And
I think the other significant number is just the example of the inflation in asphalt. That's huge, because a lot of the work that we have to do is asphalt overlay, and certainly bridges too, but the inflation in asphalt has been dramatic. And the last time, 2 years ago, when oil went up so much, it doubled. And then when it backed off, it went up some more. And so I think those kinds of examples are useful.
I mean, there's ways that, well, just like this change in the bridge inspection that came down from the federal government. Granted, it didn't come from the state, but where we used to have Donnie do our bridge inspections, now we have to have them all hired out, because there's no way that any technician can get enough years of experience to do that. Ringgold County, this is on our engineer's service bureau. He presented that to the meeting at Des Moines. And we're fortunate, we don't have a lot of seal coat roads up here, but there are some counties that have got I don't know what they call oil roads or seal coat roads, and they're just a continuous. You got to continually see the coat down to keep it in good shape. And that's that little sample on one side is actually a piece of seal coat. It looks like it's about half or 3/4 inch thick. You're saying the road really need to be paved, but all they can afford is rock. So, granted, again, we don't have many seal coat roads, so we don't have that problem.
That's about an annual, every couple of years.
With those seal coats, yeah, probably every other year almost, depending on the traffic and how bad it, because
Like in Harrison
it's just, it's a glorified dust control about what it is. You get much heavy traffic over it, the base is soft, it just starts flexing, the person it just fall apart. So,
And then you throw much traffic on it, or heavy traffic.
yeah. So, anyway, I'm gonna try to put some stuff together today to talk about it.
Are you planning on doing any work on the outlet? I saw you over the other day doing some shooting there.
Well, City of Lakeview forwarded me an email about the no parking signs that are along there.
Right where you were parked.
Yeah.
Right by the parking lot. I noticed that.
Did you?
apparently, you know, some of those cabins on the lakeside, when they've got busy weekends and they got lots of company there, people have been parking on the other side. And people in the trailer court apparently come out and tell people they can't park there and leave little nasty notes on the windshields. And I talked to Ken about it. He said, well, he wasn't aware that there was an ordinance establishing no parking signs there, and so he hasn't been enforcing it. I did look back and found an ordinance where that passed an ordinance that no parking within 150 foot of the bridge within 4 foot of the shoulder or something, it said. But so how the other signs got there on further south, I guess I don't have the history. I have no idea how they got there. And of course, the west half of that road up to the outlet is the cities, and the east half is counties. So what I probably am going to propose is to go back and sign it as the original ordinance that was done in 1980. I want to say 82. I have to look it up. Which is basically prohibited parking right there at the outlet bridge. Ken didn't see a big problem with them parking on the east side. The only issue I've got is if they need to park, if they're going to park, then they need to make sure they get off the travel portion of the road. And the shoulder isn't real wide.
Most of them do a pretty good job. I've been past there a lot of times, they're parked there, but they're a foot or two off the road.
Yeah.
Most people slow down.
You get up there closer to that driveway into that trailer park, and the shoulder's a little bit wider there. Further south, it isn't quite as wide, but I don't know whether down there there's quite the demand for that extra parking, but they've got it right up there by the outlet. Those houses don't have a whole lot of space on the west side of the road to park vehicles either.
High water is where they usually park over there because they go down there and try to snag cars. That's the time usually vehicles in there.
But I talked to Scott and told him I was going to stop and take a look at what the signs actually said. So I took a couple pictures of what the signs were actually saying, because I'm not sure how you have to have some additional wording on it besides just no parking. If it's only for that portion from 150 foot to the outlet from both sides, then they have some extra wording underneath there to designate where it's at. It's on the outside of the curve there, so it really doesn't obstruct the view of the road as much as the traffic on the other side. Anyway, that's what I was looking at. I tried to get Scott to do annex the whole thing.
That's what we wanted when they annexed it too, but they very carefully avoided that area for some reason.
What's the name of that county road?
It's M54.
M54. The outlet there.
It's
Right there.
because of the bridge, right?
Yeah, that's the reason they didn't want it. It's expensive of a bridge.
But south, once you get south of that gravel road, then they actually annex those newer houses that are south of the gravel road, but they didn't annex north of the gravel road where that trailer park area is. They could have still.
I don't know.
They still
Exactly where it was, but
they still could have came clear up to the outlet and stopped just short of the outlet. But they haven't got any of that on the east side of the road until you get south of that gravel road. Once you get south of that gravel road, then they got both sides.
that's where the population
And
was.
then it's county on both
That's where all the
sides.
value
all the way over to the
Yeah, all the
west.
value.
Tax.
How far west?
What was your question?
It's city, or from the outlet to the west, or north and west. It's a county road until you get to Roger Peterson's property.
I believe so.
Is it the house that says quite a ways back on the north side?
No, it says, almost like cottages, so
Oh.
just adjacent to the Viking, or the
I know from
Glacier Bay.
from where M54 turns north, then it goes a quarter mile east. I think it's that first,
Yeah.
that first,
Yeah.
That first
That's
part
Roger
was
Peters.
south.
yeah. I think that first, or that northeast quarter, northeast or whatever, or northwest.
But that farm that sits back in the field, that's out in the country.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, I'll visit with Scott a little bit more about that.
Go around the night, probably 3 or 4 times a week.
Do you?
So that's what I do. So, different time.
Thanks, Ron.
And thank you, Ron. Does anyone have anything else?
I'll move to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.